This week's episode of Getting Grown is brought to you by Gimlet Media's The Nod. If you enjoy Getting Grown with us, then you might enjoy The Nod too. It's a black culture podcast from Blackness's biggest fans. From the oral history of Nuck If You Buck, which you know is my kind of carrying on, to a group of black models who took 1970s Paris by storm, The Nod tells the stories about black culture that you just won't hear anywhere else. Subscribe right now to The Nod wherever you listen to podcasts or go to gimletmedia.com/The Nod. I'll take you out on a night cruise on a yacht. You just can't lose, 'cause we got a lot to look forward to. 1, 2, what you gonna do? What good is a diamond nobody can see? I hear you got you on lockdown, but I got the master key.
Baby, I wanna do all of the things you won't do.
I'll do them for you.
Sing Joe. Anybody checked on Joe lately? Where he at?
Do we care?
Yes. Joe, his little compact self.
Joe is on Power. He's in a big rich town.
Is he really?
Yeah, he's the theme song.
Oh, well, yeah, that's cool.
They say this is a big rich town.
I love Joe.
Yeah.
I saw Joe live one time. I went to the underground and he was in there singing. What's he singing, Man Won't Do?
Probably.
I just love the key. But I got the master key.
I'll light up all the candles all around.
Sing.
Show you to the subway I'll go down.
Yes.
I can't get it. But I admit that one. I can't do that. Praise the Lord, niggas.
Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. He is yet worthy on today. How is everyone doing? How are you doing, sis?
Sis, I am here. If you hear anything in my voice, it's because Keia and I are recording at 6 a.m.
We're not recording at 6 a.m. It is like 10 a.m., which is probably 6 a.m. for Jade. But good morning and praise the Lord, niggas. Welcome back to Getting Grown. I'm Keia.
I'm Jade.
And we're back to talk about adulting, the good, the bad, the ugly, the tests, the trials, the twists, the turns, the temptations, and the taxes of being a real live grown-up adult in the year of our Lord, 2018. That's right. So, yeah, man, we're recording a little bit earlier because, listen, I got a lot to do this week, and I know I have a rehearsal actually on Monday night. The group that I sing with, Sean Tillery and Change, is having a live recording on September the 15th. So we will be rehearsing, and I just need to spend my, I have to be a bit more intentional with my time. So I asked sis if we could record early, and she obliged me. So I thank you for giving me your Saturday morning. I know it is. It is precious.
To have a rehearsal on Monday.
Yeah, man. We got lots to do, man. This is what happens. You got to be flexible. What I say last week, adulting is all about being adaptable. So you got to be flexible. You got to be flexible. But how was your week, Sid?
It was good. I worked and I had a lot of Noah time this week. We went to the park and did cartwheels when I was supposed to be in the office, and
oh my god, so good.
I took her to the office. We had ice cream. But it was just it wasn't a whole lot of catering, which was nice. I needed a little break. We're back at it next week with Makosa.
Yes.
And I went to this thing called the Color Factory. Fran, of course, is the one who found it. It was wild, whimsical shit. And it was so fun. They had all these sweets throughout the thing, and it was this color exhibit. And you could take pictures, and it was a giant ball pit without like a million kids in it, thank God. And it was just really, really fun. If you're in the New York City area and they happen to extend it, because right now it is sold out, try to check out that color exhibit in Soho. We went there. It was a good time. Your sis Crystal, of course, came, and she was like, "Oh, we about to take pictures. I didn't put on my art hoe outfit."
Oh my God. What does that even mean?
It's Crystal. I don't know. It's
gosh.
It's its own language. And then we went to see Black Klansman afterwards.
How was that?
It was fun. We talked through the whole movie.
I should have been there.
You should have.
Oh my
because
God.
we first of all, it started off beautifully. It was 2 white girls in our seats before me and Tristan walked in. Crystal
Y'all gonna have to get up.
That Crystal said, "Well, you just gonna have to tell them to move because my friends is coming."
That's right.
And then we proceeded to talk shit the whole movie about. Crystal was like, "Look at the white woman on the screen enabling." Look like she's like, "Well, that's just white women are complicit." Yo,
that's so real.
When she yelled "white women are complicit" in the middle of the movie, I screamed my head off.
So real though. That's so true. That's so
we
true.
were ignorant, but it's fine. How was your week?
My week was cool. It's been, since my office goes really hard in July, August is kind of a time where we cannot go as hard. We're not required to go as hard. So there's a bit more flexibility in the work day. I mean, still getting things done, still pushing out, but it's not like, I only stayed at work till 8:00 one night this week.
Oh, yeah.
Which is, I mean, hey, I'm counting that as a win because usually I'll be there all times of the night. But, we're getting things done easy breezy. I'm going to be taking a part in the green room is having a ditch day on Monday. Tania of the green room is having a ditch day, going to go to a pool. I don't know which pool. I have to look at the address. But if you go to TGR Beauty on Instagram, I believe that the Eventbrite link is in her bio, but there are tickets. The tickets are actually free, but it's just in terms of, reserving the space for the amount of people that are coming. But it's a ditch day. We're just going to go to the pool for a day. And that's really as close as I'm going to get to a vacation summer 2018. And I've just accepted that. I'm going to go to Target and buy myself a new bathing suit. It's going to be it's going to be a blast.
You deserve.
I do deserve. I'm excited about that. And just moving, getting things in place, getting ready to start. The school year is kicking off. Colleges and stuff are going, classes are starting, which means that things at work are also going to kick into a new gear. But we're good. No complaints.
It means my child goes back to school.
I know you're excited.
Woo, baby. I just did not know that I cannot wait for school to start struggle until 2018.
It's real.
It's so real. Shout out to my mom and my dad.
It's a blessing.
Shout out to them. Yes.
I was talking to my friend Tess a couple weeks ago, and she was just like, as a parent, I just feel like kids should be in school all year round. And I'm just like,
agreed.
Did you feel that way before you became a parent? She was like, probably not. But now that I'm here, I just have that perspective. And I'm just like, well, that's totally fair.
It is a very real perspective, and I don't feel bad for any of you.
No.
I mean, I don't feel bad for saying it, excuse me, and I advocate for all of us who are on the I cannot wait for school to start again train. I am president, choo choo nigga.
And congratulations to the families, because I mean, school started here this week for a lot of people in DC, and last week for a lot of people I know down south. My mom in Tennessee, school started for them like August 15th, so they've been back. Okay. But congratulations to all the parents that have received their liberation, and wishing you all the best for the 2018-2019 academic year.
I'll be there with you soon.
Oh,
Shout out to my homies. Let's get into some trash.
Let's do it.
Oh, let's do it.
Let's do it right now. That was so like churchy.
Mixed with a little trap.
I know.
Cue the cleanup woman Ty.
I love her.
I do so.
I get so excited.
It's my favorite intro. A clean up woman is a woman who.
That's how I know I'm like a real auntie, because I get excited every time. I be like, hey, hey.
This is my favorite intro. Hey.
Yes.
All right, trash. So the VMAs were this week. Did you tune in, sis?
I did for a bit of them. I was out. I think I was coming back from rehearsal, so I didn't watch the whole thing. But I tuned in
pieces.
Yeah, just a little few bits and pieces, which was fine for me because I don't know who any of those people are.
I know who Cardi B is.
Yes, and I did see her. Always a joy. Always a joy to see the people's champion Belcalis Almanzar.
Bitch.
Oh my God. She said it with such a smile.
I let all her teeth were showing, and she
it
paid for
blessed
them,
me.
so they should be. They should
blessed
be.
Me.
That red dress gave her the blues.
Oh.
That poor red dress. She could. My sis could not get up on that stage or get down. I heard that her and her husband were in a tiff from her intro because besides it being a train wreck. Oh, I love you, sis, but it was a train wreck.
I don't feel like I saw that.
It was, she was Cardi, but it was just like it was a miss. She first of all had a moon man in a blanket, so you thought it was Culture on stage.
What?
And yeah, she had like a blanket over her titty, like she was holding the baby. And everybody thought she had the baby. I did not think she had the baby. I was like, there's no way she's going to have this baby on this stage.
Because this would be
Head fully covered.
Way too loud and just
right,
too much.
Like, no. So Offset was pissed in the crowd, and you can see it in his face.
Because he thought it was the baby too?
He thought it was the baby too, because the baby was there.
Okay.
Backstage. So he thought it was the baby too, and she went against their wishes. And when I tell you my man's was pissed, he was upset.
Well, I feel like I can I get it. I
can understand that. But she's not gonna have that baby on that stage with that head covered up like that with all them microphones and all that noise. So anyway, she did that, then she unveiled that it wasn't. I guess he was still pissed. Him and Quavo was looking confused.
Per usual, but that's neither here
per
nor there.
usual. All of those diamonds in his mouth showing.
Like what?
He was like,
mouth agape.
Close your mouth, son.
Your mouth is ajar. Your like mouth is ajar.
Something's gonna fly in it. So Cardi got up there, but then she redeemed herself later on with her acceptance speech with the bitch. Like, I felt it in my spirit.
Was that for Nicholas?
That was, you know what? Maybe she was like, shout out to all my supporters, my fans, my family, my everybody. She was like, people thought I was going to fall off. I had a baby. She was like, they said I ended my career. Da, 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 da. She's like, and I'm here and I'm still getting awards, bitch. And it's like, yes. So I hope it was for Nicholas and all of those thighs. Who, by the way, we're not going to talk about. We're just going to pass on that.
Just like Aretha.
We're just gonna pass.
We're just
every time.
Just an homage. Even though I do feel like your girl is having a midlife crisis.
Oh, let me tell you about how she's zooted and booted.
She has come unglued, honey. Something is not right. And I feel like we should get Tasha Cobbs on the jack. We got to schedule a shut-in. We need to pray. She's going down. Iyanla, especially with this Harriet Tubman, honey. Iyanla probably has many things to say.
Iyanla has already created a storyboard and an outline.
She probably let it come up, let it bubble up.
She's ready for that episode.
Oh my God.
She has done her research. Rhonda's gonna come out because I believe that Minaj is addicted to drugs. I think she's on the drugs right now. She's acting like a crazy cokehead.
Y'all, I know I have not listened to Queen Radio because I just feel like I go through so much on a day-to-day basis. Yeah. I don't need anything else.
I'm not adding to my own struggle.
But from what I understand, she says very frequently, that she's high. So I don't know on what, but clearly.
Well, I'm gonna let you all know firsthand. That ain't weed. Weed don't make you act like that. That is not marijuana. Just so you know.
I'm going to keep her lifted in prayer, but we can move on because we're going to pass.
I'll let you pray on her. Okay. Who else? What else happened at these award shows? Oh, Jennifer Lopez got up there and received the Vanguard Award.
Yes, she did, honey. And was it just me or was her speech 45 minutes long? I was like,
sis,
girl,
1 hour and 20 minutes.
She has got a word. Something. There is a word in her spirit. And an
episode of Game of Thrones.
She just kept on talking in her sparkly, bedazzled Timbs.
Yeah, it was very Jenny from the Block.
I mean,
she was very Jenny from the block, but she's 50 years old.
God bless her heart. God bless. I mean, listen, she looks amazing.
She looks incredible. I need the water that her and Angela Bassett drink.
Angela Bassett was on, was it The Root? Was it 21 some she was on something. Somebody asked her what her key was, and she was like, I have a wonderful esthetician. So get you one of those. I'm going to schedule for my facial this week. Cause
she has the same esthetician that Yara and her mom use here. I forget her name. Wait, is it here? L.A.? They live in L.A.
I don't know where
they live in L.A.
I don't know.
Anyway, it's a lady who, a black lady, and I've seen them frequently shout her out on Instagram, and she clearly has all of the gifts.
Listen, I'm going to get all of my situation. It was probably about 6 months ago when I got my last facial, so I will be heading on to Tailor Made Aesthetics to get myself together. Get you an esthetician. But yeah, shout out to Jenny from the block. Shout out to A-Rod for just acting his age or holding that cell phone up like that. You better stand for J-Lo. That's all I know.
Yes. Playing stepdaddy, doing a wonderful job. Them kids clearly love you.
Absolutely.
So shout out to their little family. And then lastly, so the succubus got on stage and gave Madonna. Because I'm convinced that she and the Olsen twins are all three 1,000 years old.
What on earth? First of all, she got up there dressed like she was about to sing Blackbird Singing in the Dead of the Night. And I was just I was trying to figure out why she needed to be dressed like Johnny Depp. Like, what are you giving? She gave me like Erykah Badu with cream and 2 sugars. Like, girl. Would you not? I was like, since when does when does Madonna dress like Mother Nature? It was troubling to me because and she claims
I don't know where it came from.
She claims that she was asked to go up there and present her award, I guess for the little girl that won. What's her name? I don't know, child.
One of them. They're all the same.
Mm-hmm. It's like Calliope. What's her name? Calliope Jones or something. I don't know. How to Kill a Mockingbird. I don't know what the child's name is.
Kekalon.
Her name is Calamine Lotion. I don't know what her name is.
Chameleonaire.
Cash Money for the 99 and the 2000. I don't know what the girl's name was, but Madonna said she was asked to just go up there and present that award, and she elected to take the time to share her story about herself as it relates to Aretha Franklin. It was not
herself.
herself. That's why I was very particular about how I phrased that, because the story was very much about herself as it relates to Aretha Franklin. Herself in relationship, not even to Aretha Franklin, but herself in relationship to an Aretha Franklin song. Okay? I mean, whatever.
We were watching it, and Tristan was like, where is this going?
I was like, I don't know. I said, I can't. I just want her to go. And
furthermore, the story is a lie because Madonna is 1,000 years old.
Exactly. And I was just praying. I actually wasn't even really listening to what she was saying. I was just praying I was praying she didn't break out into song. Because I said on Twitter, if Madonna starts singing, I will snatch my television cord right out of the wall. I won't watch this television ever again. If she starts singing anything,
I'm going to be like Lourdes, her daughter who she wouldn't let watch TV.
Exactly. I actually refuse. And then she wanted to cry and pout to Lenny Kravitz because the people have been upset at this excuse of a tribute.
You did a very white woman thing. You got up there to shout out a woman who has done so much for music, and you talked about yourself.
And then you cried. When people called you out about it, you cried. And we all know that if white women are known for nothing else, they are known for their tears.
Yes.
And
following their actions.
You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, let me be trash and let me just do all manner of disrespectful, marginalizing, offensive things. And then when you tell me about it, I get to be shocked And oh my God, I get to cry and become the victim after I just victimized you. It's fine. Right. We don't have to go there. That's a whole nother show topic. But in any case, like you said, the succubus.
The succubus. That's exactly where she is.
We can just cancel her since she want to wear her macaroni necklaces to the VMAs.
Her RBG macaroni.
Her RBG macaroni necklaces and her friendship bracelets. She felt like that was appropriate. So, I mean,
and her sister lock braid crown. I wept. Yeah, that really upset me. But that's enough of that. Because the VMAs were. That actually, you know what? We have a few things for trash. I'm just going to point out one more thing because I think we've gone long enough. But Serena has been banned
I'm upset.
from wearing a cat suit at the French Open.
And you want to know what, though? This is a prime case of people holding you to their limitations. You know what? Because I was thinking about this. I don't know who I was talking to this week, but I was talking about it's like, folks, when you are a threat, and when people can't find any other way to shade you because you are without flaw and like it's just undeniable how perfect you are at what you have come to do. So I'm thinking about...
And they know you're going to beat their ass.
Exactly. They will come up, literally conjure up ways to try to, I don't know, hold you back.
Deflate
you. Yes. And it's oftentimes... they use their own limitations and what they can't do as the barometer for judging what you can do. So it's like people like all the time, like Serena said, Serena can't wear that. No, beloved, you can't wear that. You cannot wear that. So that's why you want to say that she cannot wear that. But, you know, let me tell you something. So my girl Serena said, you know what, sis? I can beat you in this cat suit. I can beat you in a tuxedo. I can beat you in an evening gown.
On a train.
Hello, or whatever. How you want this?
Here, there, any
sure, whatever you need, sis. I'm gonna come out here. I listen. Just like white folks, they made me tired because we haven't even talked about the young lady. Did we talk about the young lady last week? Who? Yes, we did. We talked about the school lunch, but we talked about the young lady that got sent home because her hair was braided.
No.
There was a young lady, I believe she was in New Orleans, again at a Christian school. She got to school on the first day of school and she had braids, box braids. And she was expelled because her hairstyle was quote unquote unnatural. Now, you know.
What?
Yes. I have to look up the story and send it to you. But a lot of people were talking about this particular story on my newsfeeds. I know a lot of like the Christian artist spoke out about it. The young lady was in New Orleans. And I feel like Tokyo Vanity posted it as well because she said it was her niece. But, child, yes. She was at a Christian academy, which just burns my grits. But that pisses me off. Those white women told her that her hair was unnatural. They didn't send her home, but they actually put her out of the school, which I feel like is just grounds for all manner of legal action. So
let me tell you something.
It's about to be. Let me tell you something. By the time I got through with them, it would be the Takia Robinson Middle School of whomsoever, whomsoever will let them come. Okay, that's what it's going to be called.
Jade Verrett Academy.
Absolutely, and we're going to actually teach the girls how to braid hair. It's going to be a part of the curriculum. Since y'all want to act ugly,
filthy.
They make me tired.
I'm so irritated by that. I'm so irritated. Like, leave the black babies alone.
They don't want us to do nothing. They don't want us to have nothing. And because they know, like, it's like, I saw something on Twitter earlier today and it just kind of like nailed it. Talk about a lot how dress codes oftentimes are used as mechanisms to subterfuge black women and like marginalize us even further. It's like, y'all make me so sick. It's really hard out here.
That's what irritates me. It's the passive aggression. Like, I cannot deal with it. I cannot deal with how they love to. They're gonna try to snatch that girl's entire education away,
and like
because they don't like the fact that she's black.
It's like a way that it's like a subterfuge for racism, for racist agendas. It's what we're going to do is we got to get these black people out by any means necessary. We got to get Serena out the paint by any means necessary because we tired of her coming in here and, you know, literally spitting upon all of our privilege and wealth and literally wiping the floor. The same for Simone Biles. Simone Biles took a nap for 14 months. Was like, I'm gonna let you guys work out, and then she went to the world to the function and swept, honey. She got her broom and her dustpan and swept those children.
Took everything.
Listen,
robbed them.
Absolutely.
Took everything.
Fury said, "Don't kill me." Fury said, if you were at the World Championships and you were anybody other than Simone Biles, you lost. And I want you to just sit with that for a moment. Yeah. Honey, and she came out of she took a vacation for 14 months because you can do that when you are magical.
A hiatus.
You know what I'm saying? She sat
a
sabbatical. She sat her behind down and traveled the world and lived her best Black life for 14 months. Then she decided 3 months ago, I'm gonna roll through that little, what is it?
I'm coming back.
I'm gonna just go over there and see what they talk about. And swept. And then when the people asked her about her performance, she gave herself a B. She was like, because, I could do better.
And I still
You know what I'm saying? I not only annihilated each one of you, but I can do better. This is not even my best day, sis. I want you to know.
I want you to know I am not in my fullest form.
I love it. I just love.
I live. You know what? I just hope Serena shows up to the French Opening in a Missy Elliott "I Can't Stand the Rain" trash bag and beats the brakes off.
I want her to wear a tennis skirt with a 10-foot train.
Yeah.
I want her to show out in a way that only she can.
You know what? Wear your wedding gown, sis.
Absolutely.
Just wear your wedding gown with the baby in your arm and just beat them right quick.
Because I just am tired. I'm so tired.
I'm over it.
Of them sleeping on us and literally doing anything that they can to thwart our progress. But you know what? Yeah. They can continue to do that because when we get together, we're still unstoppable, sis.
A mighty force.
We're still going to level up challenge all over your nerves, and that's fine. So let's move forward into the shout-out.
Let's move to the shout-out.
Let's do it.
Hennessy.
My sis is popping right now.
It's time for shout-out to my sis.
Let us shout out our sistren.
So the very first shout-out to my sis was another sponsor of Team Typing Fast and Taking Care,
New York City,
and we featured them before.
Absolutely, and we got to feature her again because she is out here. I'm talking specifically about Nikki of Zeninajar, luxury for the mind, body, and space, also known as the Butter Boss. She was a sponsor for Typing Fast and Taking Care in New York. She specializes in affordable luxury products for the mind, body, and space. She has body butters. She has oils, essential oils, and all sort of scented oils and perfumes. She also has candles that will have your house smelling like cuffing season. So,
oh my gosh, listen,
she was a sponsor. She featured a brand new scent. Everyone who came got a sample of her latest scent called Mahalo Mango Mimosa. When I tell you that you will smell like Hawaiian silky breezes,
heaven.
I mean, I wore this. When I got back from New York, I went to my friend BJ was having a birthday brunch kind of at his house, and I went over there. Everybody who I hugged was like, "You smell amazing. What is that? Oh my God, you smell amazing." Because I
smell like a luau.
I smelled like if I wanted to steal somebody's husband, I actually could. But
I'll take your man.
I'll take your man. That's actually what she should change the name to.
Yeah.
She should. And send it on to the City Girls, girl. Get your coin. But I'm telling you, you will take somebody's man. Don't do it. I'm not advising you to do that. But you could actually do that if you do this. So yes, we will leave.
That's how good it smells.
We will leave. If you're in the DMV area, Nikki has pop-ups on Wednesdays. She has a scent bar on Tuesdays or every third Tuesday of the month. You can find all this information on her Instagram. We'll make sure to leave that in the description box. Support Nikki. She is a PhD. She is and she has literally been out here for the last few years. Always been a constant support for both Gettin Grown and Team Typing Fast. She's a dream to work with. And I just love what she's doing out here building a brand. She's been featured on all manner of television shows and everything. She's really just kind of blown up, and I'm super proud of her, and I'm ever thankful to her for supporting me and supporting us, actually.
Yes.
And, you know, I just could not shout her out. So thank you, Nikki. We love you, sis. Y'all go and get yours in a jar. You won't be sorry.
Yes. Out here smelling like brunch.
Absolutely. We also, we're going to shout out another sponsor. And this one I'm really excited to shout out. This is another podcast who sponsored Type It Fast and Taking Care by providing attendees with bound journals, beautiful bound journals. It's called the Schoolin Life Podcast. It's a podcast with the vision. Hey, New York. It's a podcast with the vision to extend standard girlfriend conversations to a wider audience. And it features 2 academics, 2 PhDs, Ashley and Marcy. Ashley is a PhD in higher education administration, and Marcy is a full-time psychologist. Schoolin Life Pod is about love and libations and life. And they just talk about their day-to-day lives as women navigating their careers and just kind of, you know, share their insight, give us some insight into their relationship as girlfriends. They talk about all kinds of great things.
Yes.
And we want you guys to check them out. They thank you so much to the ladies for sponsoring the swag for Type It Fast Taking Care New York City. It was awesome to work with you, and I look forward to working with you guys again. We will leave their website and, you know, all their podcast is available on Spotify, SoundCloud, and Apple. So make sure that you guys check them out and follow them on everywhere. Follow them on Instagram, yes. Follow them on Facebook, follow them on Twitter. Thank you guys again so much for your support. And like I said, I look forward to working with you guys in the very near future.
And you can find all of the information for all of the sponsors in the description box. So make sure you go and support, listen to Schoolin Life Podcast, and get you some zeninajar. You're going to smell like heaven.
Heaven. All right.
Heaven. Let's move on to the kitchen table.
Let's do it. All right. No Kevin Hart, but what's going on? I mean, beads and braids, hamburgers and hot dogs, ketchup and mustard, Chick-fil-A sauce and Polynesian sauce.
Armpits and deodorant.
You know, shout out. What's up, boys and girls? Cats and dogs, ribs and barbecue.
Slides and pedicures.
It's time for us to gather around the kitchen table. And I particularly have, you know, I kind of called the audible on Jade because Toya sent me an article that was published on XO Nicole this week. And it has really just impacted me in such a way that I was like, Jade, we have to find a way to talk about this on the show because I am incensed. I'm actually enraged, and I don't know that I'll be able to focus or talk about anything other than this because, you know, I'm just passionate about this particular topic. And those of you who know me well, we actually talked about this last week when we were talking about like our favorite TV shows. A Different World is not only my favorite TV show, but it's actually just kind of like a source of inspiration. It has literally shaped, you know, significant parts of my life. It is the reason why I wanted to go to college. It is the reason why I wanted to study colleges. It is the reason, you know, why I've been so proud to do the work that I feel like I've been given to do. So we got to talk about this because a young lady on XO Nicole is out here slandering my bae. She is out here slandering Dwayne Wayne. And y'all know that Dwayne Wayne is actually the prototype as far as I'm concerned. So I could not sit idle by and just allow this heresy, this treason I mean, I just feel like that Iyanla not on my watch spirit is I'm just walking very heavily in that. So we're going to talk about that today. The first line, okay, so essentially the gist of the article, and we will link it in the description box. But yes. it is literally talking about how Dwayne and Whitley's relationships were not relationship goals, and essentially blaming Dwayne Wayne for like ruining Whitley's life and for being all manner of trash and fuck boy. I mean, and it's just wrong. So I said,
Keia sent the article to me while I was sitting in the movies, and I looked at the title, and so I'm gonna read the title to you all, and then I'm just ping pong it right back on over to Keia. Dwayne and Whitley were never relationship goals, right? So I get this text from Keia, I check it, and I see the title of that article, and she's like, we need to talk about this. And I looked at the title of this article, and I was like, what the fuck? What? So
I just feel like we have, it's really easy for us to fall into, the whole niggas ain't shit, they still ain't shit. We could do that all day, right?
Right.
But at what point do we as, women acknowledge that relationships take two people and think about the ways in which our behavior might be problematic as well? And I have to say that because I think, and if we're talking about an article that is based upon Whitley and Dwayne's relationship, you cannot say that, you cannot literally highlight all the ways that Dwayne is problematic and not highlight the ways that Whitley was problematic as well.
It's just not fair.
It's just not fair. So in the spirit of equity, right? And just calling a thing, I wanted to have this conversation because I feel like the author, I don't know her personally. This is not a personal dig at her. This is just like me as an avid A Different World stan. When I tell you that last night I watched all of season 3 and 4 just because I needed to make sure that, my initial feelings, like my gut reaction and response to this article, I just wanted to make sure that I was, making claims that were based in something and not just kind of acting from an emotional place. Mm-hmm. So I've watched this countless times. I can quote and literally speak the script. I mean, the dialogue from episodes over and over again. So, all right, we're just going to go through piece by piece and kind of just give you guys an overview of what the article says, and then we're going to respond to it. Yes. So the author says at 16, she says, I've literally watched the entire series of A Different World at least 60 times throughout my life. But this time, season 5, the season Whitley gets married, burns me to my core. So she's talking about specifically, when Dwayne broke up the wedding. She said, at 16, the scene was a classic example of a man who was truly in love and put his pride aside to go after the woman he loves. He realized that he would never find another woman like her and got his shit together to win back the love of his life. Why wouldn't anyone want a man like Dwayne? Facts, right? I'm like, I'm with you, sis. I'm right there with you. But then she goes on to say, at 32, she, I guess her perception or how she perceived the scene is completely different. And she's ashamed to admit that once she thought that, this relationship that she thought was once an ideal relationship, was really, really bothered her because it was not. She said, I've met Dwayne's before, and Dwayne was, is, and will forever be trash. And that's when I cracked my knuckles the first time. So I went on to read. So she started by going down memory lane, right? And literally going back to season 1 where Dwayne and Whitley initially met. And I could tell from the very beginning that, it just seemed like all of her ideas about the show were really based in, she's just like anti-dude right now. Like,
right.
I felt like, there was her statements lacked objectivity, and it really came across that she was kind of viewing Dwayne through the lens of possibly her own lived experience. Because I don't feel like she was fair to him. So maybe you guys can chime in. So the first season of A Different World centered around Denise Huxtable. True. This was the first woman that Dwayne was infatuated with, who, as to be expected, did not return the interest. Denise, much like Whitley, was completely out of his league. Now that's where I got beef. Right there. I'm just like, how was Dwayne? How was Denise?
Denise was lazy.
First of all, Denise didn't do anything at him in college but flunk out. What did she do?
Right.
What did she do? She couldn't pass no classes. She was getting C's at best. There were countless episodes where she was going through with her different professors about how she was jumping around major to major. She was not performing well in her classes.
She was a procrastinator.
It was awful. Meanwhile, back at the ranch, my boo had an 800 on the math SATs. Now, let's just call a thing, right? So I want to know, I get if the author was here, my question would be, I would need to know what she would base that off of. Because regardless, I mean, Denise and Dwayne actually had very similar backgrounds. Both of them come from two family homes in Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. Dwayne's father was a bus driver, but let's think about that. Like, that's working class, but that's still a good government job with excellent benefits. So they were not struggling by any means.
No, it's a good city job.
A good city job. And secondly, Dwayne's mother, Adele, was an accountant, a very professional, like a licensed profession.
Most of you niggas can't math.
Exactly. A licensed profession. Just like Denise's mother, who was a lawyer, and her father, who was a obstetrician. So I need to know. And Dwayne was a straight A student. Like I said, Phi Beta Kappa, engineering student, 800 on his math SATs. Denise barely made it into the doors of Hillman. So I need to know what makes Denise out of his league. Is it because she... I don't know. Was she light skinned?
I was like, is this a light skin thing? Is this?
Oh man!
Please don't tell me this is a light skin thing, because you know how I feel.
I need help. I need to understand it. So wait, and then she goes on. She extends the lie. She extends the lie even further to say, Denise was completely out of his league, something he already knew, but that did not stop him from constantly and often inappropriately forcing himself onto Denise. When Denise, he was annoying and he would constantly act like he knew Denise, but that is totally different than inappropriately forcing himself onto Denise.
Yeah.
That sounds really rapey. And they actually went out on dates. They went out on 2 dates that I can remember of. They went to the sushi restaurant and then, maybe that was the same date, but they went to the sushi restaurant right before classes was over, and Denise kissed him.
Say it again.
Denise kissed him. Ran up in that mouth.
I'm trying, and I vividly remember this scene, so I'm trying to figure out how that is him forcing himself on her.
He was being, I feel like Dwayne, especially in season 1, his role was just being like everybody's friend. He was like everybody's annoying kid brother.
He was a young, aggravating ass.
He was eager.
Teenage boy, early 20, whatever age he was. He just started school. He was not married. He was out here trying to chase booty and,
listen,
you know what I'm saying, get his degree and live his young life. Like, come on, y'all.
Listen, and he was not struggling. He always had the finest of Jordans and Coogi sweaters. We don't want to hear it. And glasses. So I'm trying to figure out, I don't agree with them painting Dwayne as this villainous, manipulative creep, right? Because it's that wasn't who he was.
That wasn't.
And he didn't force himself on anybody. He didn't force himself on Denise, and he didn't force himself on Whitley. Because if we fast forward to season 2, when Jaleesa and Walter were getting married, and Whitley and Dwayne first hooked up around that birthday cake, again, Whitley ran up in Dwayne's mouth.
Thank you.
I got the
And if
receipts.
we're going to call, and the only person who was creepy to me on the show was Ron.
How do we have a conversation about trash niggas and not bring Ron to the table?
How you don't talk about Ron? Number one trash nigga.
He was a womanizer, a creep. Everybody knew it.
But and a light skinned creep. It was
and a short light skinned creep. We're not gonna do this. Okay. So it says, in season 1, Dwayne was constantly making fun of, harassing, and belittling Whitley for how she talked, the way she dressed, and he often poked fun at her for making reference to what he assumed to be her lack of intellectual capacity. I just feel like there's so much lie. That's not true. This young lady has never... Jennifer, girl, you said you watched the series over 60 times, and I will argue that you need to go for 61. Because that's just not... That's just not how it went down. Dwayne tutored everybody on that campus. He helped Whitley with her marketing homework. He helped Whitley with her math homework. He was always out here helping the people. Never once. And I mean, if you even fast forward to season 4 or 5 when I was watching last night, Whitley tried to pay Dwayne to do her homework for her, and he had so much integrity. He was like, "I'm not about to do it." She said, "I will pay you $100 an hour," and he thought about it because that's a lot of money. But he said, "No, I'm not doing it for you," because that's the kind of quality person that he was. Whitley, on the other hand, was trash.
She was classist.
She was spoiled rotten. She was overbearing.
She was
manipulative,
judgmental.
Absolutely, she was egregious. And if you want to talk about, so
bougie.
She was bougie. I'm just saying, if people did make fun of the way that Whitley talked, dressed, acted, it was because she deserved it.
Right.
That's what I would argue, and I think that that's a good place. I don't know. It just makes me think. I feel like we get the lines blurred between like calling a thing and then like crying I'm being abused and judged and treated unfairly. Because if you have the balls and you have the chutzpah, if you out here being brazen with your problematic behavior, then you ought to be able to handle somebody telling you that you being problematic.
Thank you.
So why
and if you can make fun of people, you better believe you're going to get it back. She called Freddie all kinds of woodland creatures and hobos.
You bunch of nobodies. She called, Whitley was not a pleasant, nice person.
No.
And at what point do we say, I'm not saying that her behavior warranted any abuse, but I'm just saying that the way that she was treated on the show was not abusive at all, especially not from Dwayne Cleophas Wayne. I just can't.
Thank you.
I actually won't. So the author claims that Denise left, and it wasn't until after Denise left that Dwayne became interested in Whitley. I will give her that, I guess. But I would argue that Whitley had just as much interest in Dwayne as Dwayne had in Whitley when they started to hook up.
Yes.
So then this is when it really, really starts to bother me. Talk about he knew that Whitley was out of his league and that she only wanted a certain type of man, and he made it a point to constantly berate her and the standards that she had for herself, guilting her into thinking that wanting more was a problem. Now, is it a matter of Whitley wanting more? Or is it just a matter of presenting different perspectives, or just arguing that what she deemed as more or what she deemed as quality was very limited and very superficial? I think Dwayne and every other character on the show, not just Dwayne, but Kim and Freddie and Jaleesa, all of them pushed Whitley and challenged her on her beliefs because she came to him with a very closed mind and a very small view of what it meant, of what success meant in the world. Like, she thought that in order for you to be successful, you had to marry well and you had to, present as a certain kind of way. Like, you had to have a certain kind of aesthetic, a certain kind of decorum, a certain kind of demeanor. And it wasn't until she was exposed, and that happens to me and a lot of other people. Your world, when you go to college, what you know of the world is limited to only what you've seen. Right. And when you get introduced to other kinds of people, you start to see that everybody wasn't raised like me, and maybe my thinking is small. So I will argue that it's more that than actual berating. I can't think of one time where anybody, Dwayne or any other character, told Whitley anything that wasn't for her own benefit or good.
Right.
The reasons why she wanted to date those bougie, pompous princes was because that's what she thought success meant. And it took people like Dwayne to be like, yo, I'm from Brooklyn, but I'm an engineer and I'm going to get this PhD, to show her that she didn't need to have someone who, went to private school and their parents had, were Jack and Jill and Lynx and all this other stuff. It just makes me very angry because I think
it's based in nothing.
It's based in nothing. And I think that this article is really steeped in some of the problematic ideologies that A Different World worked to dismantle, even back in the 80s and 90s, right? of showing that, literally holding us to kind of like white folks standards of what it means to be successful, instead of embracing all the multidimensional ways that we can be out here on our own. So I really have a problem with this article, because she's essentially saying that Dwayne manipulated Whitley because he didn't want her to be with someone like Byron, and Byron was the standard because Byron was the senator. And I'm just like, what?
The whole idea behind it is problematic. Like you just said, it's problematic. Why is it that somebody who, and you know what, we also have to come out of this, because I'm guilty of saying it too, but somebody who comes from good stock, why do they always have to be, like, it could be a nigga who comes from the projects. If he's got the right ideas behind him and he wants to elevate himself and he's going to school and he's doing so forth and so on, then how is he out of somebody's league who might come from a 2-parent household? Like, we have to get out of that whole idea that just because people come from a certain background that they are better than other people because they come from disadvantaged backgrounds. The whole classism thing is just, it's super irritating. People who have degrees versus people who don't have degrees. We have to stop looking down on people when they are doing the best that they can. Now
Absolutely.
you can definitely look down on somebody who's lazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
I do. I'm like, you're shiftless and gross.
And
trifling. You're just trying to snake your way through life, weaseling off of other niggas. I don't have no respect for that. You can make fun and look down on them niggas all you want to. But for other people who are out here trying to do the best that they can with what they got, where they come from 2-parent, 1-parent, they got this kind of career, they got that kind of career, what makes one better than the other? And why is somebody who is of lower standards out of somebody's, like, they're out of their league? I don't understand that.
And why is it that we can't have challenging conversations about complex things without everyone always crying and raising I'm feeling judged and attacked flag? Because it's not always about that, at least not for me. Because I feel like I of course, as I tend to do when I am triggered, I took to the Twitter and I tweeted the link to this article, and we're just kind of talking about all the ways that I felt like it was some bull swanky.
Mm-hmm.
And what struck me was the number of people who were saying that they saw the author's point. And they were saying that, Dwayne was mean and he was constantly calling Whitley out. And I'm just like, mean, I guess, is relative, right? Because I can't tell you, what's mean. Like, you have the right to kind of set your own barometer for what you characterize as mean. Right. But I do feel like,
I guess,
when do we have, like, was he mean, or was he calling her out for the ways that she needed to be called out? Like, was she calling her out? And when can we have conversations with, like, shouldn't we be able to have conversations with people who we deem friends and then who we are involved with romantically? Shouldn't we be able to have conversations that say, yo, you tend to do this, or you tend to think this way, and it's a problem for me, or help me understand, or let me show you why I think that this is wrong. Yep. Without it being like, oh, you trying to limit me and stifle me. Like, I just feel like sometimes, I was thinking about something differently when I said this, but I feel like it applies here. I think we have been excused for and enabled to be, problematic and wrong in the name of, like, this is what I want to do and this is me doing me. We have been enabled and reinforced for doing that stuff for so long that oftentimes when we are raised to any kind of standard, it feels like a personal attack. And it's like, I don't have to take this. And it's like, I just feel like we are headed for trouble if we get to a place where we can't have honest conversations about honest things. And I think this is a good example of that, because I can't think of any time that Dwayne treated Whitley in a manner that would be abusive.
With disrespect, right.
Yeah. So I just feel like, but I do feel like there were times where Dwayne did something that was offensive or hurtful to Whitley, and Whitley said something, and there were times where Whitley did something that was offensive to hurtful to Dwayne, and he said something.
Right.
Not to mention, if we're going to talk about manipulation, if we're going to talk about playing games, you cannot say in any way, shape, form, or fashion that Dwayne played more games than Whitley.
No.
In their relationship. Their whole relationship was a game to Whitley.
We're not watching the same show if that's what
We're
you
not.
say.
She led him on from season to season. The whole time. She did everything. She remember that time that she kissed Ron to get back at Dwayne?
How trifling is that?
How trifling is that? Remember the time when when Dwayne was with Keanu and she treated Keanu like trash. She running in and out of the house. Remember the time when Dwayne was interning in Japan for Kanishiwa and he wrote Whitley letters and she didn't respond to them. And she said herself, I didn't respond to them because I wanted you to miss me more. Because those are the kinds of childish games that she played. And meanwhile, back at the ranch, Dwayne did everything that he could to help Whitley. He sold everything that he took all his internship money and bought her a ring. Yep. Like with the first check he got from Kanishiwa, he bought her a string of pearls. He would do all kinds of things to help her. And she never, I don't want to say she never, but I don't even think she realized. She expected him to do that. She didn't realize that in relationship, it takes that, those kinds of things need to be reciprocal and mutual. So I just saw it as, and not to mention, if we talk about a different world, we cannot actually bring up the fact that Dwayne and Whitley were both like between the ages of 19 and 22 throughout their relationship. Right. And young people are going to do young people things, however problematic. So again, I'm not saying that Dwayne was above reproach, but I am saying, or beyond reproach, or like he was not, without his own flaws. I'm not saying he was perfect because he definitely did some problematic things, but I just don't think it's fair to paint him as this horrible, abusive, toxic person. The last line in this article was that this was a toxic relationship. And I just feel like that was totally not fair. Dwayne and Whitley's storyline was a toxic tale of a male's ego and the damage it can cause to a woman if she's not careful and diligent in protecting herself. And I was like, yeah, nah. We must be talking about Freddie and Shazza Zulu. That's what I'm saying. If we talk about Freddie and Shazza, if we talk about Freddie and Shazza, then absolutely. If we talk about Ron and Freddie, if we talk about Ron and Kim, okay. But we not talk about Dwayne Wayne.
No.
We not.
No.
We not. And I know I felt like that was just me doing a lot of talking. I just had to get that off my chest.
No, I first of all, I echo all of your sentiments and I appreciate your rant because it is warranted. I'm really actually, I don't know, I'm annoyed. Like, again, this is not a personal dig at the author of the article, but the article it's flawed. I mean,
and it's baseless. And if we want to sit down and I welcome listen, again, this is not a dig on this young lady. I don't know her personally. This is not a personal judgment, but she presented her position and I'm just presenting mine. And if it should come down to it where she and I would have a conversation, I'm happy and open to doing that.
Listen, I think have a debate is healthy.
We can. And I feel like it's and I'm not saying that I'm not above anybody coming back with me and challenging me because I feel like, that's what healthy conversation is about. I think we cannot talk about complex things like relationships without talking about context and talking about, both parties involved. I don't think it's fair. And I feel like we do this too much as Black women. And I am not one to listen. I got to be careful about how I say this.
It's heading in a dangerous place because we don't have the yes.
You have sneaker high heels?
Okay, go ahead.
ASAP Noah in the building.
She's in a put on my heels phase of life.
Okay.
So she likes to put them on and walk around the house. And she's actually quite good at it, which is disturbing. Anyway, we're heading in a dangerous place where we're not able to hold mirrors up in front of one another.
Absolutely.
And Keia and I spoke a little bit about this before we recorded, but it's like if you are in a relationship, you are the person who should be able to hold the mirror up in front of the other person. And you're not always going to like it. You're not always going to like what you see. You're not always going to be happy with what you see. You're not always going to embrace what the other person is saying immediately. But it is what it is, and we should be able to do that. And I feel like Dwayne called her out on her bull.
Mm-hmm.
And why is it that we are, why is that now problematic? Why is that bullying, or why is that abusive? Right. Because he called her out on her bullshit. Like, why is that?
I think we owe it to black men to not paint them with a broad brushstroke and just say that all of them are a certain kind of way. And I don't know if that was intended, but when I read this article, that's what I received. I just felt like this was painted broadly, like, right. Oh, okay, so like, let's just highlight the ways that Dwayne was problematic without talking about their relationship in the context of, it being like, these are two people who came together, and sure, their relationship was rocky and it required, it wasn't always perfect or seamless, but we can't talk about one without talking about the other.
Right.
Because, it's just not fair. So, and if we wouldn't want, I know I don't like it when people do that to me. Like, I tell dudes now that I'm talking to, the quickest way to get me to stop calling your phone is if you say things like, I know women, or you women, or this or that. Like, that's the quickest way to get me to disengage, okay? So since I know that is something that I don't like, I'm very cautious of doing that for men. And I know that it's something that I'm working towards. So I don't get it right all the time. So there will be times where you hear me say things like niggas ain't shit. Because sometimes that's just my experience. But at the same time, I don't feel like in this case, maybe this was a lesson for me. Like, because this did not sit with me well. Maybe it's because I'm still holding out and I still believe that I got a Dwayne Wayne somewhere out there lacing up his Jordans, ready to just ride off into the sunset with me. Howsoever, I think that, I wanted to talk about this because I think it's a deeper conversation that we need to have. Similar to like Love Is. I don't know if you watched that. Did you watch Love Is?
Oh, okay, yes. Yes.
Girl. And I kept saying I was inundated. I was shocked how many people hit me up and said, like, what do you think about Love Is? Do you have any thoughts about Love Is? And to the point where I made that Instagram video, like, so many people have asked me, and I'm just like, guys, I don't think we're ready to have a conversation about Love Is, because I think it's deeper than just picking a side.
Love is problematic as hell.
Troubling to me. I do think that is the intention. I think the authors wanted to showcase the ways that relationships can be problematic, especially when we are dealing with two individuals that have had, lots of things that they've dealt with in their past and have not necessarily done their personal work. So now I feel like they're just aiming at each other.
Oh, Lord. Nigga propaganda.
Whoo!
It's Jesus. Broke nigga propaganda. He's controlling.
He's manipulative.
He's manipulative.
Yasir is the scammer. We're going to talk about scammers. We're going to talk about niggas with agendas who use people for their own agendas.
But he said it though. Oh my God. Okay, so
he said it.
He said you are my fresh start.
Listen, and I mean, not to mention, if we go back to the episode with his mom, he was talking when he highlighted Ruby, his mother, even his baby mother. He was like, everything I've got, a black woman gave it to me. He said that out of his mouth. So his MO has thus far has been using black women to get what he wants, and Nori was no exception.
And what y'all not going to do is paint Ruby as a villain, because Ruby was actually justifiably fed up.
Oh, absolutely. And I think so. So, yeah, I think everyone is fed up. His mother was fed up. His baby mother was fed up. It's just a matter of time before, well, I guess we can't say that because they end up living happily ever after. But I just felt like from the beginning, Yasir has always been, he's a very wise, he's a smart dude. And I feel like he knows, he's charismatic. He knows how to get what he needs from a woman. He moved from one bitch's house to the next. That's what he been doing.
Like, that nigga was barely homeless.
I'm just telling you.
And managed to not be homeless in that little interim, because he went back and did what? took care of his ex when she got liposuction. Listen, that's manipulative.
I mean, it's just a matter of like, it's just a nigga with an agenda. And I feel like Nuri is, again, like Dwayne, Nuri got her own bag of issues that she's dragging along too, because she does not use her words at all.
She's
Hello?
problematic.
She does not communicate. I want her to use her words. Every time something happens, she's just going to have sex with, like, well, we just going to have sex and we'll work it out after we have sex, which I feel like is fair, because, I mean, we've all been there, but it's not... in the issue, solver. You know what I'm saying? It does not address the situation. It actually makes things worse.
Yes.
Because you end up being emotionally and spiritually attached to somebody who you cannot communicate with, who you cannot talk to, and you continue to make assumptions about behaviors instead of talking about behaviors, and you don't never get to the root of the issue because you're just guessing. Everybody's just guessing. So listen, I think you and I should have a conversation about Love Is.
I really think we should.
I saw XD posted last night, and I said, I got to get off the internet because I felt the heat rising in the back of my neck. Because he was like, he's noticing, he wonders if the difference in reaction to Love Is matters for people who are in relationships or partner relationships and people who are single. And I was like, I don't think so.
I don't think so.
I don't think so. Because you're not going to blame my anger against Yasir on me being single. I don't think that that's fair. I think Yasir is a scammer, and that's just what it is.
And I'm bound. You know what I'm saying? I got a nigga. And I was sitting there watching Love Is, and I was like, this is problematic. This is and if anybody thinks this is how love is supposed to start to begin, this is and not saying that every set of relationship doesn't have its issues or have some problematic things within it, self included. I started off with all kinds of foolishness, but
I mean, we all did.
Going back and watching Love Is now, I'm not saying it's an old show, but watching it, I guess at the stage that I am now in my life, I'm like, that nigga's controlling. That nigga is homeless. This is broke nigga propaganda. Like, I sit there and I just count all of the things that are wrong. You know what I'm saying? Y'all said I love you on the first night.
And I feel like this is also an instance where, I mean, I've never said I love you on the first night, but I think that we have all led with emotion and lust. Versus like rational thought.
Absolutely. Self-included.
That's what I'm saying. I am very guilty of that.
So this is not a dig.
This is what I'm saying. I'm very, very guilty of that. And in fairness, Nuri and Yasir, well, Yasir is, there's quite an age gap between the two of them. So I feel like, Nuri, sure, 25, 26, she might not know as much. That's just why I feel like Yasir has been doing this for a long time.
Yeah. Now this nigga seasoned.
He knows exactly what he's doing. And,
And not saying that he even went after her with the intention of using her. But he once again found himself.
I
don't know.
I think he made Yuri. Like, you know how, like when you, I think he did. I think Sean saw him. I mean, even the way that Sean
way he approached her was problematic. I was like, Sean, what kind of grimy nigga shit is this?
Son, Sean said, this is the woman I'm going to marry. He went to the bathroom. Yasir went and introduced himself. I'm like, this is a terrorist. This is like,
he's a terrorist.
This nigga's a terrorist. Like, are you kidding me? He went and introduced himself.
And what really blew me was that when he told Sean, he was like, her name is Nuri, she's a writer. He was like, if I was Sean, I would have been like, well, how the fuck do you know that?
Exactly.
Like, that would have been a problem. I just showed you what I was getting ready to go after, and you gonna go over and hold a whole ass conversation. And don't give me no bullshit about how men and women can't have, platonic conversations and friendships and so forth. No, your homeboy just said he was gonna shoot his shot, and as soon as this nigga dipped out the picture for 5 minutes, you went and laid your little nest.
It's really, I think, listen, as someone who has been gullible, hopeless romantic Nuri, I've been there. Yeah. I feel like certain men and even certain women, I think people who have the capacity to play on that, they can smell it. Niggas smell your insecurities. They know what it will take in order to get what they need from you. And in this instance, I always felt like Yasir knew that, Nuri was the type of woman who he could just tell her certain things and she would wholeheartedly believe him.
Yep.
And I feel like he collected his intel. He actually collected information about her and was very strategic in the way that he moved to gain a certain level of access to her.
He manipulated her into saying, I love you.
He manipulated her into everything. He manipulated her into proposing. That nigga proposed to himself. He don't even realize. He was like, so are you proposing? And she was like, yeah, I am. I actually am. She was not like, and she was just not like, she's been that naive. I mean, as someone who's been that naive and so just into it, like you just go along with stuff because it's so good and you don't want to do anything that would possibly threaten or disrupt what you feel like is the best situation. This is an ideal situation. So, and you're intrigued because this is somebody who is not like the dudes that you're accustomed to. Like you accustomed to niggas like Keith with the teeth and Derek with no socks, right? You accustomed to these kinds of, button up dudes. So here comes Yasir and he's something that you've never had before. Right. And you feel like, oh, I'm into this and he's into me. So let me just keep going. I have been there. So this is what I'm saying. I feel like I know what I'm talking about. And I think that he uses that. Him being almost 10 years older than her, he knew that she was wide open. If he told her that Yasir knew that if he told Nuri that the sky was ombre purple and orange, she would be like, "You bet it is, abso-goddamn-lutely." Like he knew that, and he played to that, and he worked that to his advantage, and to the extent to where Nuri dropped him off at Ruby's house to get his, like, I wish I wasn't, while I was watching, I was sitting here thinking like, oh my God, what the hell? Like, picture me dropping a nigga off to spend the night at his ex's house to come back to me. Right. He don't have no job. That nigga got 10 hours a week, but he moved from one house to the next.
To the point where you are now chauffeuring him.
You're literally taking him to go and get his stuff. And I'm just like, this nigga got a free ticket. And I'm like, but that's what happens. That's the level of manipulation that was out there. And to the, like, listen, Dwayne saw the tea leaves, honey, and was like, not on my watch. So he would call Whitley out when she would start to play those games. And he said, I'm not going to play them with you. So I just think if we compare, let's say we were to compare a different world to Love is, Whitley is Yasir.
She is.
And Yasir is Whitley. And that's why I feel like we cannot.
Except for Dwayne is not green.
He's not green. Except for Dwayne is what Nuri needs to be. And be like, nah, nigga, it's not.
Let me tell you what you're not going to do.
Yeah, if we going to do this, we going to do this way.
You just really kind of triggered me with Love Is, because people are like, it is a great show, and I'm like,
I do feel like it is okay. So I don't have a problem with like the writing, the concept of the show. No, I do feel like it is exhausting because I like to have. There's no hope in the story.
No.
So it's like there's no protagonist. I don't feel like there's anybody I can root for, and that makes it hard for me to watch it because it's just like, oh, this is just so much bad. But I do realize that I'm looking at this through the lens of my own lived experience, and at being 35 years old, I see the world differently than I did 10 years ago.
Of course.
So that being said, I'm not gonna say it's a terrible show. I do feel like the show does, however, feature lots of terrible things.
That's exactly what, like, it's homophobic. Like, Nuri was homophobic. Like,
she was about to out Keith with the teeth, man.
And I did appreciate. I will say that was the one redeeming thing that Yasir did when he put her in her place.
Yes, yes, that was.
And it wasn't even just. It was also him correcting her on her AIDS joke. But when he told her, it is not your responsibility to out that man. That's not your place to out that man. I had to give a little clap for him there.
And when he got her together about, her feeling entitled to work with Angela, and even when her and Angela were beefing, he was able to kind of be like, well, you out of pocket for XYZ.
Right.
Which I feel like is necessary in relationship because your partner should be able to call you out. Like, that's not right? Like, that.
They should. And so I give him that for those 2 instances. But outside of that,
he's canceled.
Yasir is a manipulative, controlling hotep.
Listen.
Problematic ideology Negro.
Listen.
And he wears his drawers outside.
I said I was going to go back and watch the first episode because I still don't follow. Like, I don't get it. I was watching it like, what the heck is this?
He wore his drawers outside.
Walking down the street confidently in his underoos.
In the furniture store. Like, sir, somebody can call the police on you. That is indecent.
Indecent. But yes, that's our kitchen table, I think. We have literally just like gabbed for however long. Yes. Hopefully you guys weren't bored to tears. I would love to know your thoughts and opinions. Listen, I think this is excellent, and I love TV. And TV often, I'm actually glad that one of the things that I love about TV is that how we could use it as a lens or a frame for talking about things that are actually going on in our lives. So this is our way of talking about relationships and what we think and believe about them through the lens of two of our shows, both A Different World and Love Is. And listen, weigh in at the kitchen table, bring your snacks, let us know what your thoughts are. Let's keep the conversation going.
Let's keep it going. I think we're going. This is good. These lead to good conversations. More TV.
More TV. And y'all know TV is my boo, honey. So I'm always excited about that.
Well, let's move on to reality TV with the Honesty Box.
Okay.
Honestly?
Truly. It is time for the Honesty Box.
Honestly. Truly.
Mm-hmm. Hello to my big sisters in my head. My name is KK. She's a pimp. Before we get into it, let me just say I love you both. I just discovered this podcast and went all the way back to episode 1 and have kikied all the way to the most recent.
Hey, boo.
Yes, welcome. Y'all serve me the inspiration, the hilarious banter, and the reads I sometimes need. Thank you for being a friend. Thank you for being a friend.
Oh.
That is the best remix.
So we started from the bottom, now we're here now. I love it. I love it.
Woo, keep him. He is beautiful. Now for the tea. Tea.
Oh, TT. Let me get my arm right. Let me get
my water. I've been with my boyfriend, kid's father, all of my 20s. I'll be 29 soon, and we met when I was 21.
Okay.
We've been through ups, downs, and side chicks, breaks, 2 kids, proposals, breakups, to hell and back. But we can't stay away from each other. I feel like we are the clones of Jim Jones and Chrissy. Oh, God.
My Lord.
The older I get, the less tolerant I become or selfish behavior, and I'm just a man, I'm sorry. He's an amazing father and a sometime partner. 1 week he wants his family, our relationship, us together, and then the next week he's distant with his friends and going out almost every day as a priority. It's to the point that I left him for 9 months, got a U-Haul on his ass because I felt like he wasn't putting us first. It hurt my heart. He'll be really good for a couple of months and then go right back to little kid mode. Granted, I'm not clingy at all. I get everyone needs and should go out and hang with friends to release, but I don't get the same luxury. He expects me to stay home while he runs the streets and is indecisive on what he wants. He says we'll get married and I'm the one he loves, but he feels he's missing out since all of his friends are single bachelors. He says when he turns 30, he'll be ready for it all. 2 kids in 8 years, you're not in the same league with them anymore, but he doesn't get it. Do I love him through the growing pains and wait for him to fully be the man I need, or will this big baby never fully grow up? Help, sisters. XOXO. KK.
Ooh. I don't know. I think... So it's clear that you guys have been through a whole number of things, and throughout his behavior has been, consistent. I would be challenged to believe that it would be wise to expect him to change without him, being intentional about seeking some sort of help or working to change his thinking or behaviors or the way that he like. So I don't think like he's not going to change unless you guys do something that's going to elicit that change. Right. Because I don't know if you guys have, in listing all the things that you guys have been through, you didn't mention that there have been any sort of like therapy or, whether you guys going individually or as a couple or any sort of workshops or any way that you might be able to get more information or more resources or access to resources that will help you change the behaviors or the problematic behaviors in yourselves or in your relationship. So I wouldn't expect if he's been this way for 9 years, he's not going to change unless he does something to make him change. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's going to take, I wouldn't expect him to change unless he says, I'm going to go to try to get some help of some sort of, we're going to try to get some help of some sort. Mm-hmm. Because if he hasn't figured it out by now, I don't know that he will on his own. And that's not a dig at him. I'm just saying, like, the reason why I go to therapy is because I'm looking for, me trying to figure out how to manage different parts of my life on my own. I wasn't able to do it on my own. And I tried for years and years and years. In order for me to get what I needed, I had to go somewhere and get it. I had to do something different. So I wouldn't expect him to change unless he says I'm going to do something different, whether that be, get a therapist, get some help. You guys take some counseling classes, whether, church or community or however. But I wouldn't expect him to change if there's not going to be something like that to catalyze the change, because y'all been trying to figure it out on your own thus far. I don't know, like, anything that would happen outside of that to me would seem like some sort of miracle.
You've made him comfortable.
Right.
So he knows what he can get away with at this point because he's been doing it for almost a decade. Right. And I understand the vantage point of having a child, having children, especially with somebody, and wanting and just wishing with all of the might from your toenails for your family to work out, because everybody wants that. But I just don't want you to put yourself in a place where you want it to work out so bad that you are willing to put up with this for another 8 years because he's not doing the work. And we keep talking about how potential ain't shit if you're not doing nothing.
You got to do the work. Like, he's got to do something that's going to let you know that he's going to be willing to do the work of change.
Niggas can have potential all day.
Absolutely. But change is work, right?
It's work. And it's active work. And if you are a loyal partner and you're staying at home with your children and you're just taking care of your responsibilities, why shouldn't he be expected to do the same thing? And this bullshit about how he's gonna, when he gets 30 years old, he's gonna pull it all together. That's not how that happens, buddy.
That's not how that works.
There are fuck niggas in their 40s and 50s right now as 60s, we live and breathe.
70s, 80s, and 90s.
What's the Grandpa Bay nigga on Instagram?
Are you kidding me?
I know this nigga is getting panties everywhere.
Oh, my God.
Or draws. I don't know. But I say all that to say, like, everything doesn't magically, he doesn't hit a magic switch when he turns 30 and all of a sudden get his shit together. You need to... First of all, outside of the fact that this is not healthy, this is not a healthy relationship, this is a terrible example for your children. And this is going to wear on you if it hasn't already, and it is. We can read it all up and through this email. But the way that it wears on you is going to reflect in some form or fashion. I'm not saying you're going to be abusive to your children or anything to that extremity, but they're going to sense that. Kids sense when mommy is sad. They sense when mommy is not in a good place. And you want to be as healthy as possible for your children. And maybe that is, like Keia said, you guys go into some kind of counseling and actually doing the work to get to a healthy relationship. But I want you to also understand, and this is not to knock the wind out of you, that he has a very strong pattern of super problematic ways.
Right.
And you might need to take your leave for a bit to show that you're serious, but most importantly, get yourself together mentally, emotionally, and everything that's in between, so that you can be the healthiest person for yourself and for your kids.
Absolutely.
So that's what I got. I am praying for you because this is not easy.
You got to do something. You got to do something to get the tools, right?
Mm-hmm.
However that means, whatever that means, however that manifests itself or demonstrates itself. You have to do something to change its movement, change its work, change its like more than just saying, "Oh, I'm gonna change." There's got to be some feet to pavement, and you are only responsible, like Jay said, for yourself and your children as well. But you're responsible for yourself. You cannot make anybody do anything. So maybe it's a matter of determining what you're going to do and presenting that and saying, whatever, I don't know if you're saying, I'm down to continue to try to do this together, but if we do, it's going to have to look like this. And if that's not something,
conditions.
Yeah, if that's not something that you want, then we need to determine, how we're going to exist outside of relationship. But if we're going to be in relationship, it's going to have to look like this. And it's okay to not know what that looks like, but I'm just encouraging you to get the information and the tools to make the changes that are necessary in yourself and in your relationship.
And write down the things that you don't like. Write down the things that upset you in the relationship, so that you can start to figure out what you don't want to tolerate and what you won't put up and what you won't deal with, so that you can get a clear head, organize your thoughts, and it is okay for you to let him know, I'm not putting up with this anymore.
I can't.
It's not you trying to be anybody's mother or boss anybody around, but clearly you have given this nigga, you've given him more than wiggle room. This nigga is sashaying and electric sliding all over the place. He's got way more.
Almost 10 years.
Almost 10 years. Like that's a pattern that's going to be hard to break. And so you've got to do what you have to do for yourself. Keep us updated.
Yeah, let us know what's what. And thank you for, being vulnerable with us and trusting us to weigh in on such a serious matter. We take it seriously. And like Jay said, we'll definitely be praying for you. And keep us updated with what's next. Y'all continue to send your letters in to Getting Grown Pod, and Jade and I will continue to try to offer our insight and humble opinions and perspectives about how you might proceed concerning the various issues and matters in your life. So I want to move on to the petty parade.
Let's go on the parade.
Let's go on parade.
And I want to be very responsible of the things I say to my sister, because everybody know I can be real petty. P-E to the T-T-Y, honey.
Parade time. We love an air horn as a friend. Our friend group loves an air horn. Yo, friends ignorant ass air horn on Insecurity. I be trying to tell niggas, I'm like, y'all don't know Friend's #1 troll. Like, Fran is the #1 troll. She is not all green juice and wheatgrass.
It's not all patchouli and manuka honey, I'm telling you.
She knows how to troll like no other. Fran, Chris, this is a loudspeakers production. Insecurity is brought to you by Adrian. Then she does that ignorant ass laugh right after. I'm like, y'all got a little dose of real Fred.
Oh my God.
So but good. Anyway, my petty peeve this week. Okay, so I can't stop niggas from talking to me. I would love to say, don't talk to me. I would love for that to be my petty peeve, but I can't control that. Don't talk to me when I have my kid, though.
Oh.
Like, don't talk to me when you have your kid, and don't talk to me when I have my kid.
Also, don't talk to me when I'm with my mom.
Also, don't talk to me, but don't talk to me when you have your kid, when I have my kid, if I'm with my mother.
Woo.
Like, don't do any of those things. It's disrespectful. It's disrespectful to your child. I told y'all about the nigga in the bodega who said, "Hello, princess. I'm not your goddamn princess. Your princess is right there holding your hand, you disgusting nigga." But I had a group of niggas try to talk to me while I'm holding Noah's hand walking to the car.
A group of niggas?
It was like 3 of them. A trio. A trio. And I'm like, and they are consistently, I'm not acknowledging them, and they're consistent. Good morning, miss. How you doing? You looking real nice over there, miss. And I'm loading my kid into my car. What's wrong with y'all niggas? You don't have no decorum?
They don't.
And if I yell at you, what's wrong with you niggas? You don't have no decorum with my kid right here. And then you say something out of pocket, it's going to be bad. So I just had to ignore it altogether. But don't try to talk to me with your, like, when we got kids in the vicinity. What are you doing that for? What do you think this is going to lead to? You think I'm getting ready to walk across the street with my daughter and entertain you?
Oh, man.
Niggas don't have no kind of common sense. Like,
oh, gosh. What
ugh. They're just ashy. They need some of that mango madness mimosa.
Some mahalo.
You need some mahalo in your life. You ashy ass dusty nigga. What's your petty peeves? Yes.
I'm struggling this week. I feel like I don't really have one. Okay.
Anybody get on your nerves this week?
I will say this. This is something that is kind of like consistent. I hate crooked parkers. Sometimes,
woo!
You know, and I mean, we're all guilty. We're running into the store and, you know, you're just running in, running right back out. But like, there are people who are really just reckless. Just pull the car in any old kind of way, that cat a corner business. Or the people who, especially like when you're parking on a corner, like parallel parking on a corner, and you know that there is space for you to move up such that somebody, like there's a whole parking space behind you. Like when you take up 2 parking spaces, like there's a special place.
Strumming my pain.
There's a special place in hell for the people who don't, like, they're like, there's rules of the G code when it comes to parking. And y'all just be out here when you parking on the line, right? So now I got to do the snake. I got to roll my back to get out the car because you just parked any old kind of, you just swung that car on in this space any old kind of way.
Or like, ooh, the parallel parkers, like you said, who just park like assholes when we could have a whole 2 other parking spaces between you and the asshole 3 cars back.
Listen.
I'm telling you, like that, and then I have to drive around for 35 minutes. I got on Instagram Live one day for like 45 minutes looking for parking in my neighborhood just because niggas park like assholes. And so one day, confession, years ago, there was this matte black BMW. I have a vendetta against niggas who drive BMWs. I have it out for you all because everybody who drives a BMW is an asshole. I'm sorry for whoever drives a BMW and listens to this show. Just strive. I'm holding a mirror in front of your face, and I just want you to know that stop driving like assholes. So everybody here in New York City who drives a BMW drives like an asshole, parks like an asshole. They think that their car is the Lord. So this matte black BMW, a big old long thing, big old like diplomat looking vehicle that did not belong in Bed-Stuy at the time, used to park on our block. And he would pull in and it would be spaces, but he would make it so that nobody could park by him. Parallel parking on the street. So now I can't park in front of my crib because you parking like a jerk. I egged the shit out of his car. One day me and Tristan were fed up.
Oh my God.
Were fed up. We were like, this nigga thinks his car shit don't stink. This nigga think his shit don't stink. I have had to sleep by the fire hydrant because this nigga parks like a jerk. Like, I'm tired of it. I have said something to him before. I have asked him to move up. He has refused. I'm over it. We went upstairs and grabbed a carton of eggs and egged the shit out of that nigga's car. You're like, all right.
Yikes.
Never saw him park on that block again. or everything. Never saw him park on the block again.
Well, that's one way to handle it.
I'm not saying I would do that now, or maybe I would. I don't have eggs as handy, but yeah, I had to teach that nigga a lesson. Like I had to teach him a lesson. I was over it because he was a jerk. He was a jerk in his attitude. He was a jerk the way he parked, and I was over it. And that is another episode of Getting Grown.
It sure is.
Kia's face.
It sure is.
It's like, yeah. Kia's like, what? It's another episode of Getting Grown. Thank you for tuning in to our foolishness and banter and conversation.
We love you so much.
We love our listeners, for real, for real. Make sure you're getting your tickets to the live shows.
Yeah, man. Philly, we're a month
City.
out. We're a month out from Philly.
Oh, shit, we are.
Yeah, man. Philly, I need y'all to show up. Don't have us out here, but we're going to have a good time. We're going to have an awesome time in Philly. I just feel it in my shondo. So, yeah, we'll see you guys there. Philly on September 22nd. New York City on October 5th. Come on, man. New York.
This is
gonna
home,
be lit.
so y'all better show up. We have fun surprises for you all. So
fun surprises in New York. New York is our top city. New York, Manhattan, in Brooklyn.
Yep.
Compete every week for being our top cities. We need y'all to show the hell out.
You better rep your sets.
Yeah, man, because Atlanta is doing the damn thing.
They are. Atlanta, you guys are showing up and showing out. So make sure you get your tickets, gettinggrown.live. And we will, in the meantime, order from zeninajar, especially you ashy niggas on the corner.
Moisturize, honey, and continue to drink your water. And as always, it is most imperative for you to mind your business.
You know why? Because your black will crack if it's absolutely dry.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.